Ruby had always believed she was meant for something bigger than the dusty streets of Kogi. While her friends dreamed of becoming doctors, lawyers, and businesswomen, her dream was different. She wanted to marry a rich white man. Not just any white man, but a wealthy one who would whisk her away to a life of luxury, far from the struggles of Nigeria. Her obsession began in secondary school, fueled by foreign movies, Instagram, and stories of Nigerian women who had made it by marrying foreigners. By the time she graduated from the university, she was convinced that love was secondary. Wealth and comfort were what mattered most. Ruby's mother, a devout woman who sold akara by the roadside, had warned her about chasing illusions. Ruby, na obodo oyibo you wan go that I put? You think white men just sit down, they dash money? But Ruby didn't listen. She was busy plotting her escape. She tried dating Nigerian men, but they all seemed too ordinary, too poor. Her last boyfriend, Femi, had good intentions, but his engineering salary couldn't afford her the lifestyle she wanted. Ruby, love is all that matters, he once told her. Money is more important, she shot back. That was the day she broke up with him. And so, her mission to find a rich white man became clear. Ruby's first attempt was through dating apps. She downloaded Tinder, Bumble, and Seeking Arrangements, crafting a profile that made her seem exotic and irresistible. She described herself as a queen of Africa, with a passion for travel and adventure. She swiped right on only white men, preferably those in finance, tech, or old money. She messaged them with enthusiasm, ignoring their age as long as they looked like their wallets were fat. But things didn't go as planned. Some were outright scammers. Others were looking for casual fun, not marriage. A 65-year-old retired businessman from Canada even asked if she would be his sugar baby in exchange for an allowance. God forbid, Ruby hissed, deleting the app in frustration. Then she discovered Facebook groups where Nigerian women shared tips on catching rich foreigners. They shared success stories, strategies, and even contacts of men who were looking. Ruby immersed herself in the group, learning tricks, how to sound sophisticated, how to play the long game, and how to present herself as a rare gem. Then, one day, she found him. His name was Richard Davenport, a 50-year-old British businessman who frequently visited Nigeria. He was tall, handsome in an older man way, and most importantly, rich. Ruby slid into his DMs with a calculated message. Hello, Richard. I saw your post about your visit to Nigeria. I would love to show you around our beautiful country. He replied within an hour. That would be wonderful, Ruby. I would love a local guide. And so the game began. For weeks, she played her role perfectly. Kind, educated, and interested in his work. She sent good morning texts, asked about his business, and even sent pictures of her cooking, pretending to be a perfect wife material. By the time he returned to Nigeria, they had built a connection. She dressed to impress. She wore heels, fitted dresses, and makeup that enhanced her natural beauty. When they met, Richard was enchanted. Ruby, you are even more beautiful in person, he said, his blue eyes twinkling. And you, Richard, are even more charming than I imagined, she replied, flashing a smile. Their dates were luxurious. Dinner at Transcorp Hilton, boat rides in Lagos and Abuja, and weekend trips to Ghana. Ruby was sure she had won. Then the unexpected happened. One evening, while scrolling through Richard's Instagram, Ruby noticed something strange. He had a wife. Her name was Amelia Davenport. Slim and stylish. She was everything Ruby feared. The pictures were recent, showing Amelia and Richard on vacation in Spain. Ruby's heart pounded. Has he not divorced? She whispered to herself. She confronted Richard the next day. Richard, are you married? He sighed. It's complicated, Ruby. Amelia and I are separated, but not legally divorced. We've grown apart. Ruby felt her world crumbling. She had spent months building this relationship. Was she going to lose everything now? Ruby refused to accept defeat. She needed a new plan. She called her friend Cynthia, a girl known for her street smarts. Babe, forget emotions. If him wife catch you, na problem. But if you hold am well, na your way to UK be that too. How? Ruby asked. Simple. Cynthia replied, make sure say he go fear to leave you. And so, Ruby began to gather evidence. Text messages, voice recordings, and even a few pictures of them together. One evening, she confronted Richard. Richard, I want to be with you. But if your wife finds out about us, it will be terrible. She placed her phone on the table, playing a voice recording of him admitting their affair. His face turned pale. Ruby, you can't do this. Then marry me, or I send everything to your wife. He hesitated, but then she had him cornered. Richard agreed to marry her, but he insisted they keep it a secret until his divorce was finalized. Ruby didn't care. She had won. One evening, over a candlelit dinner at a luxury restaurant in Lagos, Richard leaned in with a serious expression. Ruby, I want you to have more than just a good life. I want you to be wealthy on your own. There's an investment opportunity in real estate back in the UK. If you put in a little capital now, you could be earning thousands of pounds in passive income within months. His words dripped with confidence, and the way he spoke about properties, high returns, and exclusive deals made it sound like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Ruby hesitated at first, but Richard assured her, trust me, darling, this is how rich people stay rich. Blinded by love and the vision of an effortless future, she withdrew her entire life savings, money she had spent years struggling to gather, and wired it to the account details he provided. Richard kissed her forehead and whispered, this is the start of something big for us. That night, she slept with a heart full of hope. But her victory was short-lived. A few weeks later, Richard vanished. His phone number stopped working, his Instagram was deleted, he was gone. Ruby panicked. She tried reaching his office in London, but was met with silence. Then, one day, she received a message from an unknown number. Stay away from my husband, or you will regret it. It was Amelia. Ruby's hand trembled. Had she pushed too far? Ruby sat in her tiny apartment, her hands shaking, as she stared at her phone. Richard had vanished without a trace. His phone number was disconnected, his emails bounced back, and his social media account had disappeared overnight. She had been scammed. But she refused to believe it. Richard was real. He was rich. He had promised her marriage. He had taken her money. Her desperation led her to a drastic decision. she would report him to the British Embassy. The next morning, she put on her best dress and took a taxi to the embassy. As she walked through the grand entrance, she rehearsed her story in her head. My name is Ruby Anataku. I am engaged to a British citizen named Richard Davenport. He has disappeared. I need your help. When she reached the counter, she took a deep breath and explained everything to the stern-looking officer. The officer listened, occasionally taking notes. When she finished, he frowned slightly. You said his name is Richard Davenport? Yes, he's a businessman. He comes to Nigeria often. I've been with him for months, Ruby said. The officer nodded and typed something into his computer. His eyes flicked across the screen. Then his frown deepened. Ma'am, are you sure of his name? Yes, Richard Davenport. 50 years old, British, works in finance. The officer hesitated, then called over a colleague. They whispered briefly, and the second officer began searching on the computer. After what felt like forever, the first officer turned back to her. Miss Ruby, I'm afraid there's no British citizen named Richard Davenport who matches this description. No passport, no business registration, no record of any Richard Davenport frequently traveling to Nigeria. Ruby's heart stopped. That's not possible. He has been here multiple times. He even has an office in Lagos. The officer sighed. We checked all the records. This person does not exist in our system. Ruby felt the blood drain from her face. Her hands became cold. So who have I been dating? She whispered. The officer shook his head. That's a question only you can answer. Ruby staggered out of the embassy, her legs weak. The realization hit her like a thunderbolt. Everything, the expensive dinners, the weekend trips, the sweet words, had been part of an elaborate scam. He had played her perfectly, making her believe she was special, making her dream of luxury and marriage, and she had fallen for it. Her knees buckled as she sat on the pavement, staring at the sky. The dream was over. Now she had to face reality. Months later, Ruby returned home, humbled. She found Femi, now engaged to another woman. He had built a small but growing engineering firm. You look different, Ruby, he said. I have learned, Femi, she replied. For the first time, she realized that love and hard work, not shortcuts, were the real keys to a good life. And so, Ruby began anew, not as a gold digger, but as a woman determined to build her own wealth. Because sometimes, the real gold is within. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss our next captivating story. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment, and don't forget to share this with your friend.